American Craftsman Podcast is proud to partner with Montana Brand Tools. The West was built by people with strength and great pride in their workmanship. It was a necessity that early settlers of Montana have a strong will, a resilient character, and great determination to tame the rugged landscape while adapting to its dramatic climate. That spirit, made in the USA pride and craftsmanship, is alive today, both in how Montana Brand tools are manufactured and how they perform. Montana Brand power tool accessories are manufactured utilizing proprietary, state-of-the-art CNC machining equipment and the highest quality materials available. Montana Brand tools are guaranteed for life to be free of defects in material and workmanship because we build these tools with pride and determination. Montana Brand tools are manufactured by Rocky Mountain Twist, located in Ronan, Montana. Montana Brand's heritage comes from a long line of innovative power tool accessories. Use coupon code American Craftsman for 10% off your order at montanabrandtools.com.
All right, here we go. Episode 50 of the American Craftsman Podcast.
You know, I was looking up what the 50th anniversary was like.
Golden, right?
Well, yeah, the Golden Jubilee and all that stuff. But do you know like what half a centennial is called? I had to look it up.
No.
I was going to say sesquicentennial, right?
Yeah.
But that's like 150 years. It's a quinquagenarian is somebody who's 50 years old. So a 50th a 50th anniversary is a quinquagenary, while a 100th anniversary is called a centenary.
Interesting.
They get it from Latin.
Yeah.
That's why century, centennial and all that stuff is so much easier to say than quinquagenta, meaning 50 in Latin.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's a mouthful.
There's a reason that's not in our everyday vocabulary.
Right, that's why we call it a Golden Jubilee or something like that.
I'm going to a quinquagenan anniversary party. Just call it 50th.
Yeah. Yeah, our 50th episode.
Yeah.
Just think 2 more, it's going to be a full year's worth.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Because we didn't count the 1 week that we took off, so it's...
Yep.
We're not going by the calendar year, we're going by the actual number of episodes.
And technically we did 2 episodes in the first week, so it is...
So we're evened up.
It will be 52 weeks, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I think we did them back to back. Episode 1 and 2 was one day, and then the next day.
Yeah. So here we are. Who'd have thought it?
Yeah, we were gung-ho. Back, we had that guy who didn't know the name.
Yeah.
Couldn't get the name right.
Couldn't say American Craftsman Podcast.
It is a little confusing, right? Right, guys?
It is. I mean, there's all those countries, first off.
Yeah.
Lithuanian.
A lot of consonants.
Yeah. Bolivian podcast.
Macedonian Craftsman Podcast.
Then there's the A's. I mean, the Argentinian Craftsman Podcast, the Armenian Craftsman Podcast.
Next podcast we'll keep a single word title.
Australian.
We'll just call it podcast. Welcome to podcast.
Welcome to not even just podcast. Like the Eagles. Everybody calls them the Eagles. They always say, no, it's Eagles.
Huh. But they're the Eagles.
Yeah. I don't know who to believe there.
Yeah, that's funny.
Not a big
Eagles
fan.
Doesn't sound...
No, it doesn't sound right,
Sounds
does it?
good. The
Right.
Eagles.
Right.
It's like, yeah, we're 5 guys. We're the Eagles.
Yeah.
Not Eagles.
People are a problem.
Don't get me started. Let's get into the beer of the week. We got beer vision this week.
All right.
Look at that. Camera 2, beer vision.
Yeah, here you go.
I'm handling beer vision.
This is one I picked out when we were doing our shopping spree. It's from Slack Tide Brewing Company out of Cape May, New Jersey.
Oh, I didn't know that. It's
called Monkey Face, and it's a stout. 5.3% alcohol by volume. These are small, 12 ounces. And it's brewed and packaged by Slack Tide, Cape May Courthouse, New Jersey.
Look at that, making a mess.
Handcrafted, unfiltered. not much of a story outside the great monkey face logo on there. So let's check it out.
Yeah, I wonder if it's like supposed to have, have like banana taste to it or something?
Please, I hope not.
I can see that being good, like a chocolate covered banana.
We'll see. It's got a nice caramelly kind of pour to it.
I have beer all over my hand. Let us know what you think of Beer Vision.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hey, you
Making
get some
a mess.
audio on that too.
I had to come down and clean the podcast area. Look at that. That's a nice shot.
Yeah.
See that?
Wow. Yeah, monkey face and what the hell's the name of the
Slack Tide.
Slack Tide? You ought to be proud of that shot.
Switching back to camera one. Trying.
Just technical director, editor, on-air talent.
I'm calling my my SAG representative.
You're underpaid for sure.
Cheers. Cheers to you guys.
Monkey face.
Not bad.
Yeah, I like it. But stout's my thing. Like that watery Guinness. Bread and
No banana flavor.
yeah, thankfully for me.
You don't think that'd be good? Like a banana bread. They do sell a banana bread beer.
Oh, really?
Isn't it made by Innocent Gun?
I don't know. I mean, I like regular Innocent Gun for sure. So, before we get too far, I guess we go right to the tool of the week here. We don't have a lot of questions this week.
I'm switch back to camera. Well, I won't switch yet.
Now, as an aside or an adjunct or something of that nature, something with an A, we got us a new tool chest.
Yep.
In the shop.
Mm-hmm.
One of those big mechanic style tool chests.
Yep.
And one of the drawers we designated for all the different screws. And being the, I don't know, ultra organized that we try to be, we said we need all the bins to be the same in there. We want new bins. We found this place up in New England. Where
Massachusetts.
were they? Massachusetts, yeah.
Fallsmouth, I think.
So these are bins made in the USA, and they're designed to go into tool chest drawers.
Yeah, they have all kinds of different sizes.
So they're called Schaller. So SchallerCorporation.com is where you reach them. And we chose these 3x6.
Yep. Because the cabinet is 18 by 32.
Yeah, something like that. And they figured out if we wanted all the same, how many we would need.
Goddamn camera 2 disappeared.
What happened to camera 2?
I have no idea.
But it's the humble organizational bin for tool of the week.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. I mean, these are like, what, $2.50 each, $2.50, something like that.
Maybe 3.
But we got 24 of them. They fit.
Look, camera 2's back.
Ah, there we go. They fit right in the tool cabinet. And yeah, you can't quite read it, I guess. It says Schaller Corp on the back.com. And they come in, basically any size you'd need. Height, width, depth. And
we ordered them and they came the next day.
Yeah. Really cool. And the great thing about it is they're sized to have like just a slight 1/8 of an inch gap, so you can kind of get your fingers in there and pull them out.
Yeah, and
that's how we like to work.
Sorry for the fucked up audio there when that camera got so we're getting dual audio.
No, we're not. We're always working with some sort of
goodness gracious
shortcoming.
That's it. Beer Vision done.
Yeah. So they're called Schaller Corporation. SchallerCorporation.com. If you're in the market for bins, and basically if you have a shop, you're in the market for bins. I don't think you can go wrong by contacting.
Those would be even good if you have we got one coming tomorrow, Sustainer with screw boxes in it, for screws, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm sure they have stuff that fit, even deep stuff that'll go in a Sys 2 or a Sys 3.
Yeah. Yeah, very cool. And Jeff and I both enjoy the uniformity.
Yeah.
Everything fits, everything goes where it's, back in the spot, where it goes.
Yeah, because now it's like we got a mishmash of yellow ones that came out of DeWalt containers, random ones that came out of Bosch boxes I had, ice cream container. It
was making us crazy.
Yeah, and it's a bad use of space.
Yeah. That's true, because the rectangular shape uses basically every little inch.
Yeah, and now they only go in one way, so you can't, with the drawer that we still have all the other screws in the other drawer. If you take one thing out, or let's say you take two things out, if you don't put them back the exact way they were in there, then everything doesn't fit.
No, it doesn't work right. So this is cool. I think this is a good find.
Yeah.
And they're made in America, believe it or not.
Yeah, they seem like they're like a FRN or something, like a fiberglass reinforced nylon, or like a like a glass reinforced.
Yeah, they're made for toolboxes, so I'm going to expect that they're reasonably tough. It's still a thin piece of plastic, so they're not going to be unbreakable, but I'm really happy with them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, cheap, simple.
Yeah.
Exactly what we were looking for. I mean,
the humble bin.
Yeah.
But
they had a bunch of different names of toolboxes that they would fit in. Husky, which we bought, wasn't one. I didn't recognize the other ones. They were like
more for machinists and mechanics.
Yeah, that's what I'm guessing they are. More these industrial sort of brands that you don't find at like a regular store. But yeah.
So that's pretty cool. I'm really happy we came across that.
Yeah. So we got 24 of them in that drawer.
Yeah. All right. So the links will be down there in their usual spot.
Yep.
So if you need one or you need 100, check it out.
I think we paid about $60. I'll tell you the price.
Yeah.
Pull it up. SCHALER. What the hell?
You can tell us what city it is too.
$74.55 shipped for 24.
Yeah.
That includes UPS shipping.
It's just over $3 each.
Yep.
Including tax and shipping.
They are in Franklin, Massachusetts.
There you go. Shout out to Franklin, Massachusetts and the Schaller Corp.
They're $2.52 each. Paid $14 in shipping. And that's it.
Cool.
Check them out.
All right. Support another small business.
Yeah.
So we're on to the questions, I guess.
Yeah, we only got about half a dozen this week. We're kicking around ideas now for a revamp of the podcast format. So stay tuned within the next. We're thinking after we officially hit a year, we're gonna change things up a little bit. So
yeah. It's good for us. It's good, hopefully, for the listeners.
Yeah. A little more focused and
maybe even informative.
Yeah. So we got our first question here from one of our patrons, Corey, CT Woodwork on Instagram. If you could make something for your favorite musician /band/artist, who would it be?
Wow. I mean, my first thought would be an instrument.
Mm.
You know, because that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know, other than that, I would go towards like maybe something that revolving around sound, like, you know, place to.
It's who would it be?
Oh, who would it
Not
be?
Not what would it be?
Man, can you think of anything?
I see. Favorite? I can never answer these questions,
I know,
because it's ever changing for me, and I don't have a favorite really. Oh, well, I shouldn't say that. I don't have a favorite anything, but for things like music and stuff like that, like, I don't have a favorite. It's
hard, right?
Yeah, I go back and forth. I'll latch onto something for a while. I go back to something else. I don't know. When I read this morning, like, I thought somebody like James Brown would be really cool.
Yeah.
Because you know that's somebody that's going to be talking about you all the time. Obviously, James Brown.
Yeah, you better do a good job.
Well, yeah. Yeah, James Brown gets a little crazy.
Yeah. He'll come hunt you down and write a song about it.
Yeah. That's good publicity.
I mean, when we think about any of the local heroes, we're not really big fans of the two biggest local heroes.
Yeah, Bruce Springsteen and Bon Jovi.
Yeah.
John Bon Jovi.
Now, while I'm not
musically,
right.
I could care less about them otherwise.
Well, I'm not a big fan of Bon Jovi's music. You know, whenever I hear a story about him locally, it's always something that is good.
Yeah, he owns a place in Red Bank called JBJ Soul Kitchen.
Soul
right?
Kitchen, yeah.
Where you can, like, if you're down on your luck, you can go and they'll put you to work for a little bit in exchange for a meal, and like when you can eat there, it's a restaurant.
Yeah,
all the money goes toward, I don't know, all the money. It's to benefit the operation that they have going on.
Yeah, he's known to be a pretty generous guy, and whenever he's in like some sort of social situation, like with his kid or something at football practice, a pretty normal guy for somebody who's attained the level of success that he has. So, it might be nice to do something for him. People that I admire musically, a lot of them, like James Brown, they're no longer with us.
Yeah.
And people that I would love to meet and just talk, like somebody like Fela Kuti, I wouldn't have much in common with him personally. I'd love to hear him and have him just talk.
Yeah, it's like less interesting to interact with them one-on-one than it would be to just sit in on them talking about something.
Right. Stuff like that. The pop star thing, neither of us are really enamored by those types of things. I mean, who is there?
We got Donald Fagen still kicking.
Yeah, Donald Fagen. I mean, we love Steely Dan.
Yeah.
We love Clutch.
Yeah.
And that guy seems pretty cool, too.
That would be cool. I'd like to make something for one of those guys, because they're just, like, down to earth.
Right.
They're, like, rock stars, but, like, they probably live in, like, a regular house. Because they're not, like, selling out stadiums, rock stars. But, that's how they make their living.
We could go in there because, like, when we saw that video where he did the thing for the school kid, he was, like, in his garage with, like, junky
Crappy
tools on the wall. We could go in there and do like a garage makeover, and stuff. That might be cool.
What's up with the song name Pulaski Skyway? We should try and link up with them when they're here in December.
Yeah. We've got tickets allegedly if this thing ever settles in and we get to go. We're looking forward to seeing Clutch.
Trying to get tickets. They haven't gotten back, but
Fagen might be a pretty difficult client, but we're used to that.
Yeah, that's our kind of client, though.
Right.
That New York City kind of like
stickler for detail and stuff. That's the people, that most that like when a company says, "Oh, these people are a real pain in the ass," or they're really difficult, that's kind of the starting point for.
Yeah, because if you're not particular, then you just go to somebody else.
Right, you'd go and pick it off the shelf.
Or have Chico make it for you.
Yeah, we look forward to the discerning client. That's our bread and butter, and it kind of gets us going too, because it really pushes us to push ourselves. We like that.
If it's easy, it's not worth doing.
No, so we haven't really come up with a definitive answer, but we have a pretty general idea.
Yeah.
Somebody who does good. I mean, Springsteen's the biggest guy, but there's something about him that, when I was younger, I was really like, when Born to Run came out and then Darkness on the Edge of Town, we're talking late 70s. I was a teenager, and I was like, man, this is cool. This really speaks to me. But as time has worn on, it doesn't ring true anymore. And
his like newer stuff, you mean?
Yeah, and it's just there's certain falseness about it to me that the earlier stuff, portrayed this genuine kind of longing, and I think that's what I related to at the beginning.
I have heard like the people that have run into him, because he lives a couple miles away. And everybody said he was really nice.
Yeah.
And have run into other people from the band and said that they were cool too. But
I do have several stories from the drummer of that band, and he's, we'll just say not nice.
Oh, what's his name?
Weinberg.
Yeah. Fuck that guy. What a piece of shit.
He tried to stop the
trail from being
renovated and repaired
after a hurricane destroyed it.
Right.
Because his house overlooks it.
So he didn't want the plebes walking past.
Or the sound of construction down there, I guess.
Yeah.
What a dick.
I know. And that's just the least of what I've heard.
Everybody in the lowlands lost their house. Meanwhile, he's up there.
Lording it over.
Don't rebuild this trail.
Yeah. And he did some tax scam like many do on the property taxes.
Yep.
We're all paying very high property taxes here in this part of New Jersey, and
highest property taxes in the country.
Yeah, something that the wealthy do is they'll if you have more than 5 acres, you can get this special farm allowance if you designate a small area to a crop or something, and you only have to sell like $500 worth of stuff.
I think they really changed. They clamped down on that.
They did.
Last I looked into it, it's a lot more difficult. You have to show like
genuine farm stuff.
Yeah, and like I forget, for the first year or something, there's no tax break, and I think I could be wrong, but I think they kind of put an end to that.
Yeah, good. Unless we can benefit from it.
Yeah. I got bees. The bees live out there.
That's right. I got a bird
sanctuary. My lawn is all clover.
That's right.
There's not a stitch of grass.
We're growing clover.
Mm-hmm. I like the look of clover.
Yeah, I do too. Okay, so I think we've answered that to the best of our ability. It's time to move on. And this is from Keith, 2-Bit Woodworks, of bottle opener fame, and
you see right there on the table,
early guest of the podcast
twice,
and
episode 9 and
you'll stun me if you remember this.
It was on St. Patrick's Day, so it's got to be 17.
Yeah, I think it happens on the 17th. I don't think it happens.
Is that 17 weeks into the year though?
March 17th?
No, that's 12. Wait, 12 weeks. Maybe it was episode 13?
Yeah. Close. Somewhere in the teens, so that's a pretty good guess.
Not that it matters.
No. But, Keith wants to know, have you hooked up the Bosch miter saw yet?
Yeah, so Keith stopped by, not this past Saturday, but the Saturday prior. He bought a new miter saw, and he was getting rid of his, which is that Bosch Axial Glide. And we had been talking like the day before about getting a new saw. I've been having a bunch of trouble with the Hitachi that we have that replaced the DeWalt that we had. I don't know. The cut.
We didn't like it.
It bound up more than any saw that I've ever used in my life.
Yeah.
So Keith, put up a post on Instagram, said, I'm going to sell this off. Anybody's interested, and immediately just said it's
we'll just
sold.
buy
Yeah,
it.
just bring it over.
Yeah.
So actually, that's where the toolbox, the Husky toolbox that we bought, the saw is on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
So we ripped out what we had there, kind of got rid of a bunch of shit that was just accumulating, and sort of taking up space, more space than it was really justified for it. And it's good over there now. It's neat. There's more room. We have more flexibility with the saw to be able to roll it out on that thing if we need to cut something that's really long, because the wall is right there. So worked out pretty good.
Yeah. Now, we take a different approach with our miter saw than most cabinet shops, probably, most shops in general, because we don't use the miter saw for like exacting types of operations. We're there breaking stuff down, the odd cut on a piece of plywood, trimming it.
It's like jig making and breaking down rough lumber. You got to cut something rough, something to rough length before you bring it to the table saw, because it's going to run into something otherwise. So you got stuff stacked up on the 52-inch fence, and it only goes over. You only have 6 inches on the right side of the blade, and then you cut it on the miter saw, and then bring it over, trim 2 sides.
So the whole idea of that miter station, which takes up an enormous amount of room in any shop, it just wore out its welcome in our shop, and we said, let's try something different. We got it up there on that toolbox.
It's a little high, but we had to make compromises with it before,
right?
So that's the compromise this time.
Yeah, it just I like it as far as checking out. Like if I'm cutting to a line, I really like the new height.
Yeah,
because it's a little bit easier to see instead of like kind of craning my neck around.
Yeah, I've worked on miter saw stations, like stands on jobs. And the saw is like at waist height. It's way too low.
Right. So this is pretty good. And it's nothing. It's the saw sitting on top of this large toolbox.
Yeah, was it 46 inches?
Yeah.
54? 46?
52, I think.
52. These crickets, man.
Yeah, they're into it.
Must be cricket season.
We got the nice vacuum hooked up, so the dust collection's pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And the saw works great. We're waiting on our new blade.
Yeah. I accidentally ordered a blade with a 5/8 inch bore for the arbor.
Yeah.
I was totally not thinking.
Well, it would have fooled me too. Because
it's one of those things you usually just order a miter saw blade.
Right.
But been buying from carbide.com, who's really, really good out in California. Another small business. The website circa 1996. And you choose like the application, you say what you're cutting, plywood finish one side, plywood finish two, whatever. And it'll spit out a list of blades that are applicable for what you're trying to do. And when I did miter saw, arbor, 5/8 instead of 1 inch, just not thinking, usually you go, if you're shopping at Home Depot, you just grab a Diablo,
right?
Which you don't even think about it.
Or even like at Ridge or something like that, the chop saw sections, they'll all be,
Yeah.
But, because this blade could be used on a table saw. Yeah.
It's a nice blade.
Mm-hmm.
Like $130 blade. Everlast saw out in Kansas who bought Ridge Carbide. What is it? 80 tooth?
I think it's at least 80. Yeah, there's a lot of teeth on it.
It's nice. I mean, you gotta have good blades.
Oh yeah.
The Keith gave it to us with a blade on there, which I'm sure it's seen a bunch of use because he had the saw for about a year, and I mean, it just cuts. It cuts rough.
It burns its way through.
Yeah, it's like difficult.
It's like a laser cut.
Yeah, it's difficult to cut. I forget. We cut something with it.
We pulled down a piece of maple or something like that out of the scrap bin, and it was just like...
Why does it smell like roasted marshmallows?
Like a completely brown, polished edge.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hard as a rock. So, yeah, we have another blade coming.
But we paid for the saw, not the blade.
Yeah.
The saw's working great.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I love that arm action. I don't know what you'd call it.
I used that saw for years. They call it an axial glide. So it's like basically two perpendicular hinges articulated like arms.
Mm-hmm.
So you could put it all the way against the wall. Yeah. Basically.
Pretty close.
If you kept it at 90, you could keep it all the way against the wall. You only need enough room to swing it. So we have it like 2 inches off the wall. We got a plug, of course. It's like right in the way.
Yeah.
We may be able to move that. I didn't even think. We could probably move that plug over to the wall with the joiner. In that power strip. So yeah, bolted it down to that toolbox. Been working good.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. Can't wait to get a new blade on it.
Oh yeah, it's on the way.
Cool. Yeah, because the toolbox is heavy enough, and with the wheels locked, it's essentially a stationary object.
Nice thing about that box too is it has the extendable base.
Right.
So you can cut, like I cut that 9-foot long piece of oak. It was like a 2x3 oak.
Oh, for the calls.
Yeah. I cut it in half, and it almost stayed, both sides almost stayed flat. Like they both went up, but it was close. Like you can probably cut 4 feet on either side, and you're still good with support.
Yeah, like I said, we don't use it for much except for like roughing out stuff.
Right. If we're going to have a day where cut rough lumber that comes 9 feet, 12 feet, whatever, we'll just put a roller stand.
Yeah.
And use it, then we put it away. So
that's cool. So thanks a lot, Keith.
Yeah.
I hope you're enjoying your Capex.
Yeah, it must be nice.
We'll take your hand-me-downs over here.
Believe me, the idea crossed my mind to get a Capex.
Yeah.
But I don't know, for just rough lumber, really?
We don't really call for it. If we had that Capex, then we'd want a station for it, and
we need a battery-powered Capex.
Oh, well,
actually, that kind of ties into another question that we got.
Yeah.
Look at the question of the week is still there. I was supposed to delete that. We don't even have a question of the week.
I got one from Manny.
Oh, okay, I was going to say,
yeah. He gave me an extra question, and we'll use it.
Oh, good.
All right, so Justin DePalm on Instagram. You can tell a lot about a person by the questions they ask. We already know what Justin DePalm is going to choose.
I got a bunch of other questions from the jokers that Justin knows. Omitted them from the podcast.
Justin wants to know, fuck off or clean the shop?
Yeah, I laughed when I saw the question. It's funny because that was kind of the situation yesterday.
Yeah.
So we started building this wall unit, which is mostly just plywood, veneer, two-side, like AA plywood. We're going to veneer the actual doors with 16th-inch veneer. And we really took it as far as we could because we need to figure out the finish because we really want to finish the insides of this thing before we put it together. We have one finish on the back because a lot of it's open, and one finish on the sides and the mids. So really, you gotta finish the inside at least before you put it together. Otherwise, because it's gonna be black and whatever clear, basically black and clear.
Yeah.
So you get any black on that clear with Rubio, especially, a penetrative finish, you're done for.
And then it's plywood, so it's not like we can really sand through it like we're used to.
So yeah, I mean, we were done by noon with cutting all the parts, edge banding them, trimming the edge banding, sanding them, and just getting them ready to cut the joinery in them. So we really didn't have anything to do. We got a email in from a designer about a vanity, so Rob jumped on that, and I'm like, I'm just gonna go home or just sit here. So I just grabbed a thing of wax. First I cleaned we cut all the edge banding with the plywood blade. So I took that, I cleaned all the glue off of it because it was like the Diablo blade. It wouldn't even cut. Like I cut a piece of fur with it, and it was like, it was like trying to cut wood with a butter knife. So I cleaned that, and then I waxed the dado saw. I'm like, I might as well wax the saw stop. And Rob was sweeping up. I mean,
that's kind of where we are. Because sometimes there's not really something for two people to do, or we're waiting on an operation.
Yeah.
We're pretty much the same way. Like, it's that whole restaurant mentality. You know the saying.
You can clean.
So sometimes it just spend 5 minutes. That's all it is. Just sweeping up a pile here and there. Not getting crazy about it, but just get some stuff out from under your feet. Put things away. Run a pail out to the dumpster because that's easy to put off. Just stuff like that. So there are days like if the afternoon comes and we're tired, or there's, we don't want to start something fresh, we'll pick it up in the morning.
Yeah.
We'll put on Clubhouse or something like that and listen.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of times where we just put our feet up and I mean, you got to decompress sometimes.
For an hour or two, because it doesn't matter in the scheme of things.
No, I mean, all we're doing is just cutting into our profits a little bit. So
and
it's a quality of life thing. It's one thing if you're working for somebody, then you can't do that kind of stuff.
No.
When you work for yourself, so sometimes you make the decision, well, I worked 6 good hours today. Is it going to kill the project if for the next 2 just kind of F off?
I mean, we built basically that. We cut all the parts. They're almost ready to go together.
Dadoed. Every piece is edge banded 4 sides.
Yeah. And we did that in half a day. So
yeah. And I got the bottoms glued up for the next 3 octagonal boxes.
Yeah.
I'd say it's about a 75-25.
Yeah,
25-75 if you frame it with the question.
There you go.
Usually you try and find something to do, even if it's just, make a tool holder for your bench, whatever.
All right. You want to read the next question?
Yeah, we got one here from Tiff, Night Carver Designs. We actually give her a little shout out. We're patrons to her Patreon page.
Yeah.
So Tiff is like a sign maker.
Really good, too.
Yeah, and makes other stuff. She does CNC work. She also does stuff by hand with a router. Like make a template, glue it on there, route stuff out by hand painting, all that. Really great stuff. So every month she comes up with like a subject matter, and all the patrons get to vote. Like it's horror movies this month.
Yeah.
So I think it ended up as Friday the 13th, and then come up with like narrow it down to what specifically it's going to be. So it's pretty cool. So check her out if you haven't heard of her. She's on Instagram, Night Carver Designs. Tiff wants to know, what's a dream project that you've been dying to make but haven't had the time?
I'll tell you. I'll go big dream. I'm going to go big dream here. My big dream is my
charcuterie board.
That comes after the coasters. I've always wanted to make a timber frame house. And I did. I mean, I was part of a crew that made one from scratch. And I've wanted to make one for myself. But, as the years go on, you're racing against the clock.
That's a young man's game.
That's a good way to put it, because first off, you kind of lose the whole oomph. Like, I would love to live in like a cabin in the woods kind of thing, maybe not like full time, but how much time you got left? I don't think I'm going to be able to spend it up there.
You're not going to do a Dick Prenneke?
No. I would much probably at this point like prefer buying or renting an apartment and, taking some long weekends.
I'm just doing, yeah. You got to get a timeshare.
Yeah.
We spend 2 weekends a year.
So, and I'm gonna have to twist the haven't had the time. I never got the time. It was something, we can't do everything that we aspire to in this life, and I'm reaching that point where you got to come to terms with some of those things, and it's not gonna affect me that much, but it would have been nice to have done this when I think I was in my late 30s when I went up to Maine and took part in that class that built the frame for a house. Only somebody like you could probably relate to this. My idea was to build this timber frame in my garage in Brooklyn, one beam at a time, label everything.
A small house.
And, store it all, because you store it just stacked up.
Yeah.
And I'd stack all the beams up in the house and then transport it.
Hemlock?
No, I didn't get to that point. That was my plan. Because there are companies that do that. They specialize in that.
It's like a kit.
Right, essentially, and they label everything. So I thought,
most of the times they do that. Like they build it, they take it apart,
right,
and then they bring it back to the site.
Right.
Because really, we're gonna hand fit all that on site.
Yeah, you can't.
Be there for a year.
So that was my whole goal, was to build this thing, and then that at some time in the near future I'd have myself a plot of land. Mm-hmm. But life gets in the way.
Yeah, I hear that. I really want to. It's not so much like time, because it's not really time that's our problem. We don't have any time to really do any of this stuff as like a hobby outside of work, because we're devoting so much time to it anyway, that we got to do other things on our free time just to stay sane. But I really want to build a set of chairs, whether it's 6 chairs, 8 chairs, something like for a dining table. Maybe build the table too, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's the chairs that I want to build.
They say chairs are one of the hardest things to do well.
Yeah, I don't know, really interested in the aesthetic of chairs. It's different than a cabinet. Like the function of a cabinet really holds back the design sort of element of it, of it. And a chair gives you a little more freedom. And it's just another opportunity to set up a bunch of different processes, try and figure out ways to set up efficient processes, because you're making 8 chairs. Let's say they got 6 spindles or something. Well, that's what's 6 times
48.
8? That's 48 spindles that you have to make. So you got to figure out a way to make 48 spindles.
Yeah.
Good, identical, and fast. Which, as you guys know, I don't know. That's one of my things.
Yeah,
I like.
Efficiency.
Yeah.
It's interesting you bring up chairs, because today I was doing a lot of reading on, the different styles of furniture through the last, let's say, 2 centuries. And chairs were used as an example in, I want to say, almost all of the, the pictorial examples of what made this, a Georgian or a Victorian, and there was Windsor and Fife and even Bauhaus, which like a super modern, eclectic, artsy kind of thing. They used a chair.
Yeah.
So you're right. It opens up the palette to so many alternatives, and your personality and your ingenuity in putting a design together.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to be building you a kitchen one of these days.
Oh, yeah. My wife's breathing down my neck now. She's like, we should order those windows soon. I'm like, okay, Jesus Christ.
That's going to be our dream project.
Oh, my goodness.
It's going to be your kitchen, because that'll be an interesting thing, because we'll have to, deal with the realities of time and budget, and you're going to have to make some choices as to, how far you want to go with it as far as details and everything. And I'm going to be like your helper. But it's going to be a lot of fun, I think. because
the cabinetry is the one thing I'm not worried about.
Yeah,
It's everything else.
We can bang that out, and then with the doors and the drawers and stuff like that, and the material choices.
Yeah, my wife doesn't realize there's like $3,500 worth of plumbing that has to happen before.
I know. Everything's just.
Yeah.
It's just. I mean, this is what you do for a living. You can't just do this on the Saturday and Sunday.
Until you give an opinion in another situation, they say, you don't do that. Oh, man.
How many weekends should it take us?
Yeah. What do you mean we're going to pay somebody to do the sheetrock? You can't just do it? Yeah, let me just take off for a couple days.
My idea is to just shut down because for that time period, and maybe in blocks of a week, then go back to work, then shut down so we could really get into a rhythm of coming in. Maybe we're doing 10-hour days for a week and get some work done.
I figure we'll build the boxes, and then deliver those, and then we'll get a progress payment. We'll do it, Tom.
Can't wait for that progress payment.
We'll do it, Tom.
We can probably pull Manny Sr. out of retirement, get unwrapped.
Open up the hardware bags. I'll get Manny Sr. to come over and open up the bags of hardware. Why are you even saying that? It's never going to happen anyway. Don't want to waste my time opening these bags. It takes all of fucking 2 minutes.
I remember the first time when I first started working with Tom instead of for him. We had made an arrangement where he hired out and paid for his finishing expert to finish a piece of furniture for me. So, he gave me some addresses and instructions. And I'll never forget the first time I walked in, and the job was to put the pulls and knobs on a whole house full of cabinetry that was installed. And it just struck me so odd because I would never, ever delivered a piece of furniture without the pulls on it. It just never occurred to me that...
I think we're probably in the minority. Most people don't make that decision until the stuff is installed, unfortunately.
Because it's so much easier to do it there in the shop while you're building.
Right. Even before finishing.
Yeah. And it is a big pain. You're working on your knees and you're in somebody's house. You're cleaning up after yourself.
Yeah, you're making dust inside every little cabinet.
I know. It was crazy.
Yeah, I remember Santos. That picture came up today. I was in there for 2 days.
Yeah.
Had 6 different widths of handles, knobs, another kind of knob. Like there's like 5 different types of hardware.
Right. So paying your lead installer to spend 2 days, shimmying around in the kitchen, putting knobs on.
You better make sure all the drawers are dead on before you start drilling holes too, because inset there's no adjusting those after the fact.
That's right. So there you have it. It's our dream project.
Yeah, I forgot what the hell we were even talking about.
Your kitchen. That's your wife's dream project.
I'm thinking about just going to IKEA at this point.
You go over to Jamie's. It's like, hey, these are nice cabinets. When you're over there, you want, man, these are really good cabinets. This is some good value.
Yeah. What'd you pay for these? Yeah, got that stack of plywood in the garage. You could probably sell it for a profit now.
Yeah, exactly. That's $6,000 worth of plywood.
Yeah, it was like $2,500.
Oh man, this is I don't know if we ever talked about this. Corey, one of our patrons, he's a CT Woodwork out there on the island. Mm-hmm. He's doing some good work out there, so you should check him out. He wants to know how we came up with the name Greene Street Joinery.
I think we may have talked about this at the meetup a couple weeks ago. Or at least I think I spoke to somebody about it. I don't remember if it was Corey or somebody else, but I mean, we were kicking around. I was still working at Tom's, and Rob, was on his 2-week leave.
I'm still on that 2-week leave. Time goes so slowly.
We were, trying to get things going and, working all these back angles on jobs and getting in touch with people and stuff. So obviously we're kicking around ideas of, when we finally do start this company, what's it going to be called? We had a dozen or so names that we were kicking around.
Well, we narrowed it down to wanting to include some sort of word like joinery, woodwork, something to signify what we did, of course. We didn't want it to be so ambiguous that people didn't know what we were. And then there's...
I feel like most people have no idea what joinery is. At least not people in the know, people that aren't in the know.
and then then there's the sort of like the adjective part, which for us became the Greene Street part. We didn't want to go with Jeff and Rob's, that kind of thing.
What were some of the other names that we had? We had someone with Wright.
Yeah,
like Frank Lloyd Wright.
Yeah, Wright was one of the words, and there was because like a Wright was also a way
like the Woodwright.
Yeah.
Wait,
the Woodwright shop. Yeah. So we were trying, we were trying to be somewhat unique and distinctive without being like abstract.
Right. Yeah. Because some of these names that you hear just make like you're like, what the hell is that?
Right. Like the designer we work with, it sounds right. I don't know where they came up with the name, but Donnie Douglas Design.
It's their dogs.
It's their dogs, right? So it's alliterative. It's nice to say.
Yeah. Greene Street Joinery,
and that's part of why we felt strongly about Greene Street.
Yeah. So the green is green and green. It's green as in sustainable. Mm-hmm. So that's sort of where green comes from, and then spelling it in the green and green sort of fashion was an homage to them.
Right, with the 3s instead of the 2. I don't know how Street got into it.
Me neither.
But it was, like sort of, how there's, the Avenue A deli and the 2nd Avenue deli and that kind of thing. So there
10th Avenue Freeze Out.
Right. There's always that sort of name for a business.
Yeah.
And it flows, it's the Greene Street. Whenever it came out, it just sounded right, and we would say, "Oh, you could name anything Greene Street. It could be Greene Street Bagelery, and it sounds good."
There's actually a consignment shop in Red Bank, Greene Street. Consignment.
Yeah. Is there a Greene Street in Red Bank?
There might be.
Yeah.
There's one right up here on Leonardville Road, off of Leonardville Road, right by Belford Brewery.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's in
with
Manhattan.
With a Grene.
Wow. That's probably how most like proper names were spelled.
Yep.
So that's it. It's it's a signifier, joinery, even though a lot of people don't understand that part. It sounds better than
more of like a British kind of term.
Yeah.
Like they call carpenters, or I don't even know if they're carpenters.
They're joiners.
Joiners, yeah. But I think a joiner is more of like a cabinet maker.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much a carpenter.
So we got that, our little highfalutin joinery.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got our, paying respects to our predecessors, the people we aspire to be, we look up to, Greene Brothers.
Yep.
And Street just is the thing that tied the name together.
Yeah, Greene Joinery sounds stupid.
Right.
Greene Street.
Yeah. So, and Jeff came in with the sign, hung it on the shop.
Yeah. So we got a street sign that says Greene Street.
Yeah. But I love the name.
Yeah. It is a good name.
And your mother-in-law did a great job. We wanted the tree of life.
Yep.
which also green and renewable resources and the other sort of philosophical meanings of the tree of life and all that. So that's part of our logo.
Yeah.
It just worked. It was sort of like a happy accident that we discovered this name by brainstorming.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think of other ones that we kicked around.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, they stopped.
I heard people talking. I think like Half Moon something was because wasn't that Henry Hudson's the name of his ship? He landed.
There was something like that. Yeah, we were diving deep into some connections to some of the people that were important to us or the area.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how it went. We didn't want to name it after ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, there's Thomas Charles. I just gave away the big secret.
Yeah, Greene Street it is. Yeah. Oh, I don't know if people caught that.
Probably not.
No, that just went right.
I know one person who did.
Or three. So there you go. So we're going to move on to this next to last question. This is from our we describe everybody kind of the same way, but Manny truly is a really great friend of ours.
Absolutely.
And one of our patrons, Too Many Mistakes on Instagram. He says, what's a cordless tool you hope becomes a reality? And what's a cordless tool you wish they'd improve upon?
What the hell were we talking about before? Something cordless.
Festool.
Oh, yeah, a cordless Capex. I think they might be coming out with that.
That would be something else.
Because we're all set up with Makita.
Yeah, Makita is our battery platform.
But, for site work with dust collection and Capex sliding, blah, blah, blah.
Somebody comes out with a good tool, we're going to at least consider it.
Yeah.
Cost is never an obstacle for us.
I think they
we'll go without lunch for a month.
Yeah, I think they teased the idea, and maybe they have it in Europe, but it doesn't look like they have it currently. I thought they were coming out with a small, like an 8 1/4 or a 7 1/4 cordless, but maybe that was like an April Fool's thing. So yeah, I mean a cordless Capex, that would be cool.
Yeah,
because that's a great, that's a fine saw for the job site, cutting crown molding and stuff like that. We're not going to be doing heavy cutting on site.
No,
we're going to be cutting, filler material to length, stuff like that. If you have floor to ceiling kind of filler or something.
Yeah, and we have a nice job site table saw for doing anything that's called upon in that arena. What about anything that's out there that you wish they'd improve upon?
Well, I guess I'd like to see a cordless Makita belt sander.
Oh.
Because I use a grinder if I have to do any sanding like that, but having a belt sander doesn't hurt.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Improve upon. The nailers are still not great. I haven't used a ton of them, but I'd like to see better nailers. They could somehow make them smaller.
Yeah.
Like even the 18 gauge. I have the Grex, which is the smallest, but you get into the battery-powered 18 gauge nailers, they're huge.
Yeah, that's where I'm going to pick it up. And on the improved upon part, I'd love to see across the board improvement in the size and weight of the battery. I know that's just, a technology thing in general, nothing tool specific. But if they could make the jump down from, let's say, like an 18-volt power source equal the size and weight of a 12-volt currently, I would say that would be the biggest improvement I could hope for. Because small tools like the router, although it's pretty well balanced, Imagine that with just, like a small battery in the top. The hot glue gun.
Mm-hmm.
What else? I
think a lot of this stuff, they are going to the 12 volt. It's just the runtime is not.
Yeah.
You're not going to get a great runtime.
Yeah. For us, and for me particularly, I'd sacrifice some runtime if the power feed maintained itself.
Like those 12 volt Bosch, they're never going to have, those ones specifically, I'm sure they could change the technology, but like those, you can't put a whole saw on that thing.
No, it doesn't
just
turn
doesn't, yeah.
No.
The impact is pretty good.
Yeah.
But the drills just seem to lack power and speed. Like they seem like they don't rotate as fast as a full size drill.
No, they don't. The other improvement I'm going to ask for is in those Bosch, which are our little shop, the 12 volts. They don't stand up. Like that style of 12 volt, they've managed to shrink the battery down, but their choice of styling the handle and everything.
They have those.
Bosch
has them.
Oh, and they stand up?
Yeah.
That's it. That's what I like.
Solved. Yeah, they have like 6.0s. Those are 1.5s that we have.
Okay.
They sell a 6.0. Here, I'll pull a picture for you.
Yeah, let me see a picture of that.
And they have like a flat Makita. Milwaukee has them like that too.
Yeah, that's what
now
I
you see like Makita and DeWalt have gone to a 12 volt that looks almost identical to the 18 volt, but they're just like scaled down. Let's say they're like 3/4 scale. Bosch.
That's the thing I don't really enjoy about those Bosch that we use. They feel good in the hand. They're real easy to use. Okay, nice flat bottom on there.
6.0. Think of how often we charge the 1.5s or 2.0s, whatever the hell.
Never.
They charge this thing once a year.
I know. Huh. There you go. Yeah, the drills, especially when you're working at your bench, I could see like if you're on site and you're on a ladder or something like that and you're kind of holstering, the smaller, slimmer profile is better. But for bench work, I like that it would stand up. One of the things I like about that fest tool that I have, that old style fest tool, I guess I have to be in the mood for it because, that thing stands up completely. Well, I don't know what you call that pistol grip thing,
Yeah, I don't know.
It's that funky fest tool.
The CXS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I use it when I'm working on my electronics and stuff like that. It's really handy because you just grab it. And, it kind of stands up easily on its own. Excuse me. I can't think of anything that I want cordless that's not already available. Because if it's big, I don't really need it to be cordless.
Yeah. I don't know. A cordless Makita table saw? I know we have the saw stop.
Yeah.
But
I guess, if we were working on sites like up in Newark where there was no electricity.
No power, yeah.
Then I'd have a different concept of what was needed. Like the things that, like we're getting a cordless vac.
Mm-hmm.
We got a big cordless floodlight. They make that.
Mm-hmm.
They have, what was I about to say? Fans and everything. It's all cordless. Yeah, if we were out there working more on site, I could see wanting some of those bigger tools.
Yeah.
But basically all the hand tools, they're already there, right? Although I don't know about the belt sander. That was a good one.
Rigid makes one, I know that, but I think that's the only one.
Yeah.
It's more like brand specific now because like somebody's got that tool probably. Like you get a Milwaukee or a DeWalt table saw, but I don't want to start mixing in these other brands.
No,
I want one battery. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't care if this one's a little bit better than that. They're pretty much the same.
Yeah, I'd love to see a unification battery.
That's never going to happen.
And then let the tool makers fight it out on the tool. That's a dream, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, why would you buy a DeWalt over a Makita if all batteries worked?
That's not going to happen.
Then you'd have to make your tool better instead of just relying on the fact that somebody's already got, 3 other tools.
Yeah.
Because, that's what Ryobi did. They came out first with, Ryobi are these low-budget homeowner tools, but they came out with this idea, we'll sell you this tool inexpensively and get you hooked like a drug addict on the battery platform.
Yeah. They got everything now.
Yeah.
Coming to a job site near you.
If you see a guy show up to your job and he's carrying all his stuff in a Homer bucket and you see some lime green sticking out.
Guarantee he's got a cigarette hanging out of his mouth.
Yeah, you might want to rethink your choice in contractor.
Jeans. Like the light brown work boots.
Yeah.
Probably got a wife beater tank top on.
Yeah. And especially if he's wearing like one of those bandanas that are tied in the back.
Or like over top of the head, not like on the forehead.
Yeah, over the top of the head and tied in the back.
Yeah.
And if it's one of those that are like meant to, like it's a
like a motorcycle
hat bandana.
Yeah.
Oh man, we're deep diving into the stereotypes now.
Yeah, I remodeled your bathroom for $3,500.
I mean,
I do tile, trim, paint.
Yeah.
Plumbing, electric, heating.
License? I got driver's license.
I know somebody at the town.
You don't need a
permits.
license for that. That's for sissies.
No permits, no problem.
Yeah, don't. Did we just alienate anybody?
If it took till episode 50, they got some pretty thick skin.
Yes, that's the guy. We won't even talk about what's going on the truck.
Oh, yeah. Believe me, I was thinking it.
Yeah. You know what's so funny? When I was driving over here today to Studio B, there was a commercial pickup truck with commercial plates and his company, decal on the side of the truck. And all on the back window were all these ultra political and, very, what's the word I would say? Inappropriate in some circles. Like you wouldn't say these things. Yeah, in front of your mom. And that kind of thing. It's like, this is bad messaging for me. Yeah. I want to be neutral.
Right.
There will be no virtue signaling of any sort on the Greene Street van.
That's right. Oh, speaking of the van, we're picking up the van tomorrow.
Oh, yes. I can't believe we didn't mention that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the day has come.
Mm-hmm. Finally.
I mean, for me, it's a big day. The real big day is picking it up from the wrap. It's still just half the thing to get that big white van.
I don't know. The rap guy didn't sound too confident this morning. So
we called the rap guy today.
So you remember, we did pay you half. Yeah. You got a 50% deposit.
Right. He's had our money. Now, we called him. He's like, hello?
You get the van, and maybe I'll come take a look at it. And I'm like, what? We have a confirmed design.
There was a marked lack of enthusiasm on his part, I'm going to say.
Yeah. Just got an email from O'Shea. They're saying they got white oak.
Hey!
I hope so.
What happened? China stopped buying?
Oh, actually, yeah, they were out of white oak.
Yeah.
Well, it's back in stock.
All right.
Well, we're running longer than I was expecting on this 6-question show. So, what's this question of the week you got? We'll rattle that off, or we'll save that for the Patreon.
I'm gonna rattle it off. I'll read it verbatim from Manny. 2 Manny mistakes. He asks, If the demand for Greene Street keeps growing, do you guys see yourself expanding?
A loaded question. I like it.
There you go.
So we'll hit that in the Patreon, the after show question of the week.
Yeah.
What'd you think about the beer?
It was great. I thought, it was, to me, it was, it's not as, in the stout game, not as good as the Guinness for me. I like a Guinness more. It was a little bit, I'm going to say, with respect to Guinness, it might have had a little bit more character than a Guinness.
It absolutely does. Guinness is like brown water.
Yeah. But, it's like, when you have this irrational like for something.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it is with me and Guinness. So maybe I didn't want to like this as much as I did.
Yeah.
But you could see it was gone pretty early on in the episode.
I liked it. It definitely has like a burnt sugar kind of taste. It's like bready. Pretty good.
Yeah, I like the burnt sugar characteristic.
That was the biggest thing that stood out to me.
And they don't give it a storyline like a lot of the other beers.
No.
Now you had...
Is it hidden in this fine print?
You had... what was it called? Sour... Not a sour. What?
Slush punch?
Slush punch over the weekend.
Yeah, I had one of those on Saturday.
And that may be our favorite beer to date.
You know what I did? I put ice in it.
Really?
Which is that's like sort of blasphemous.
But
when
now
it comes
I could
to beer.
see it with that one.
Yeah, and it was good. It was so cold.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's almost like not even drinking beer.
Imagine that in like a really heavily frosted glass.
Even that's not enough. You got to put ice in it.
Yeah. And then drink it before it gets watered down, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the beer's got to be so cold that when you put the ice in it, it's like it's not even going to melt.
Yeah, so
it was good.
I guess we'll ordinarily we might check on Slack Tide's page and stuff like that, but we're looking to get on to our
we're running out of time over here.
Yeah, so we're going to say goodbye for this week, except for the Patreons. We'll see you on the other side.
Yeah. All right, we'll see you guys next week, episode 51.
Ciao.